a little girl, Easter was very special because it was the first big holiday after Christmas. And you had to wait a really long time. And if you were a little girl, you got a new dress. And you probably got new shoes, patent leather, of course. And if you had a mother like mine, you got a hat. Love that hat. Yes, indeed. And so you'd go to church and you'd find out that on Good Friday, Jesus died. That was bad. And on Easter Sunday, Jesus lived again and raised from the dead, and that was good. And you kind of put up with that in order to get the chocolate. Over the years, I think that for the general public out there, Easter has become a tag end to spring break. Almost like that throwaway holiday. You've already done the holiday to Mexico, and now you've got this. And it's a time, it's a little kind of long weekend that is got little chicks and little lambs and little rabbits and little colored eggs and little flowers. And it's presided over by an Easter bunny who carries a basket of chocolate. And it's a pastel world. It's pale pinks and blues and yellows, and it's a pretty world. And in that world, I ask myself, where is the color of purple, or red, or brown, or black of Good Friday? Where is the place for death, pain, and suffering? Because in our world, those are things that we avoid, we deny, and we run away from. Death and suffering is not acceptable in the world out there. And neither, in fact, is the resurrection. Because for many, the colors of gray, of white, of the gold of the early morning Easter day is not relevant. It's something that happened 2,000 years ago, and really, what does it have much to do with me? And, well, that whole Christian gig, let's not go there. For those of us who are sitting here, that is not the full story. Our passage this morning from the Gospel of John talks about the resurrection appearance of Christ. And to understand John, you need to understand that for him, there were two kind of worlds. There was the earthly world, and there was the heavenly world. And in earthly world, it was a place of darkness, of death, of sin, of pain, of suffering. The heavenly world was a world of God, a world of life, a world of love, and a world of light. And as we trace through the process of this resurrection story that we hear, we see Mary Magdalene arriving at the tomb in the dark. She is still working out of an earthly life. She is viewing the world through the eyes of the world. And she comes to the tomb and she sees the rock gone. And she goes, well, they've stolen him. They've taken him. And she chases off to Simon Peter and the beloved disciple and says, he's gone. And they race back to the tomb, and they look in, and there is no body. And they are working out of, from that point, an earthly vision of what life is about, because their life has been destroyed. Their Lord has died on the cross, their lives are shattered, and now, on top of it all, we've lost the body. What's going on? So that Simon Peter and the beloved disciple leave, and we've got Mary Magdalene. And she's weeping in the garden. And for her, again, it's that perspective of the world, of grief, of having lost her Lord, of wondering what is her life going to be from this point on. And she, even though she sees, oops, sorry, don't do that, Jane. Even though she sees the angel, she's still working out of the earthly life. And she turns around and she sees the gardener. And that gardener says to her, "Who are you seeking?" And she responds, "They have taken my Lord. Just let me know where he is. It'll be great. Just show me." And he responds to her and says, "Mary." And in that moment, in that encounter between Jesus and Mary, we have the heavenly life entering in to the worldly one. And that heavenly life transforms her perspective, so that no longer is she the grieving woman, the woman whose purpose has been shattered, whose life has been destroyed. She has been given new life in Christ. And so she runs back to the disciples and says, "I have seen the Lord." This woman who had begun the morning as a broken woman is now the first evangelist, really. She's sharing the good news of Christ to those around her, to the disciples. Now, for many, it's thought that this all happened 2,000 years ago, like so what? If that's all it is or was, then why are we here? We are here because the life of heaven is available to us today, now. In every encounter that we have with Christ, with God breaking through and connecting to us in the core of our being, we have the possibility of transformation and new life happening here, now. And so when we have those times, those Good Friday times, when we've come out of a doctor's office with a shattering diagnosis, we can grasp hold of and draw near to the strength of God to be with us in whatever our unfolding life might be. In those moments when maybe our marriage is broken down, or we've lost our families through aging and whatever, and we're feeling alone and just stranded, we can grab hold of the love of the risen Christ, who will fill us and give us new life and new possibilities. And in those moments, maybe when we have totally messed up, when our lives are full of shame and we can hardly even bear ourselves, we can reach out to the love of God and say, "Help me." And that mercy and grace will be with us, offering us the possibility of new life, of letting go of that which has shamed us and hurt us and pained us. And so, in those moments, we do not live in a pastel world. We live in a world of greens and reds and yellows and golds and silvers. We live in a full world that God will transform all of it. And I'll tell you one thing, the Easter Bunny doesn't give you that. Thanks be to God.